Welcome to the EdTech Throwdown. Join us, Eric Geis and Nick Johnson, as we dive into today's best EdTech tools, tips, and practices. We do the research so you can teach your class. Remember to follow us on social media like Instagram, X, or Facebook by looking for the handle at EdTech Throwdown. Now please enjoy the show.
Welcome to the EdTech Throwdown. This is episode 160 called 7 Awesome AI-Powered EdTech Tools. In this episode, we'll update everyone on where we are in our 2024 EdTech March Madness bracket and examine 7 awesome AI-powered EdTech tools. This is another episode you don't want to miss. Check it out.
All right, we are back, episode 160, and this episode is all about AI and also our EdTech Madness 24 bracket, where we selected 12 tools and we had the Twitterverse out there select the remaining 4 wildcards, and we put them into a bracket, and we've been having some fun getting some votes and things like that. It's been an awesome time, awesome ride so far. We do have our haters out there that do not like anything to do with March Madness and EdTech tools, and they say it's a waste of time, and I totally get what they're coming from. We just like to shed some light on some EdTech tools that people may or may not know about. So some of these tools are within a year old. Some of these tools have been around for a while, but they're progressing their functionality, I guess, within those tools. A lot of them are incorporating AI in there, and I think it's very important to highlight and showcase these tools because some of them are just pretty awesome.
Wait, do you mean you're actually getting like negative comments with these posts?
Oh, yeah. See, I've never been that popular on Twitter, like popular enough that something that I say ever gets like trolls.
Right.
But we definitely have 1 or 2 out there that are like, this is not even good EdTech tool selections and things like that. But I'm telling you what, I'm having a lot of fun because, I mean, as much as I would love to respond to them, I don't really see the point because this is just a fun little exercise. Our podcast has always been about exploring EdTech tools, finding good quality tools that have a functionality that is very useful in education, and then share those out with the teachers. So I really don't see it any different with the EdTech bracket than just spreading the love, spreading the knowledge, and sharing out these awesome tools. So I'm happy to do it. And for the most part, I think people are having fun. I mean, there are some banter back and forth with some people. They're getting into it, and I love to see it. It's passionate. And you know what? If we could spread a little bit of light on some of these tools, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's not if people have a problem with the EdTech bracket, it's just silly. It's not worth commenting on. Perhaps, like I know sometimes when I look at the bracket, it contains very popular EdTech tools, which sometimes if you're in the EdTech world can kind of start to seem old. Like, okay, we're putting up quizzes again. And, we get that. And we always try to bring in new, exciting EdTech tools to our show. But the bracket is all about those tools that are the best, that have withstood the test of time, which oddly enough is something that we're going to sort of get into in today's, as we discuss these things. Do you want to pop up the bracket itself to take a look at where we're at this exact moment?
Yeah, let me get that up real quick. Here we are. This is the 2024 EdTech Madness bracket. You can follow the hashtag EdTech Madness 24. I'll give you the basics. We came out with 4 categories, but within those categories, we had 1 wild card spot where educators, EdTech enthusiasts, whoever it may be, can nominate a tool, and whoever got the most nominations within that week opening period, they were the 4 tools selected to be wildcards, and they did not have to fit that particular category, though I think we were able to get it to be pretty close. Not too far of a stretch, but those 4 wildcards were brisk teaching, and there were a lot of brisk teaching nominations. Diffit, and once again, there were a lot of those as well. School AI, which a lot of people think School AI got hosed with who their first round matchup was against, and I kind of agree. School AI, I've heard so many positive things about. And the last one was CurryPod. Now, what you'll notice about every single one of those is they're all AI based. And I'm going to tell you that's without a doubt the most popular theme about this, because three of our final four are AI. They have some AI within them. And I don't know, maybe Book Creator does now too. Maybe I just haven't seen it. I haven't had a activity through Book Creator this year because I'm teaching less courses. So maybe there is AI there and I'm missing that. And if I am, I apologize. But what I will tell you is that AI is a big proponent of EdTech tools. And soon, I think AI will have to be involved in all EdTech tools in order for them to survive.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I want to go back to one other thing you said about school AI, which is one of my personal favorites, going up immediately against Magic School. That's a tough matchup. That's almost like the real basketball bracket where a 16 seed goes up against the 1 seed, right? Because Magic School, it's so popular right now. It does so many things. And while School AI, I guess we should say too, if you don't know, School AI is where you can design your own chatbot space where students can speak to a chatbot, an AI powered chatbot about a topic of your choice. You can have it like help them with tutoring, understanding topics and concepts, or starting a project and brainstorming ideas, which is so cool. I'm pretty sure it's either out now or is in the beta version. And if you're listening to this, down the road, I'm almost certain it's going to be available. Magic School is developing its own space to do that exact thing. And I'm noticing a lot of the EdTech tools are doing that too. So that was a good point, that one maybe not super fair right off the bat because of how overwhelmingly, I don't know what the word is, just all encompassing Magic School can be. But I'm still team School AI, man, and that's who I voted for. Just had to point that out.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a quality product, but I think right here we're getting into a little bit of those one-stop shops versus the Swiss Army knife tools. Magic School is definitely a Swiss Army knife tool because
Right.
it does a lot so very well. And School AI is, one tool that they do really, really, really well. And I think they both can be successful in the space. I think it depends on user preference, but I will also point out that Magic School took down Quizzes. Quizzes has been in the final two for what, 4 or 5 years running. But this year we focused on Quizzes AI, and they're doing a lot of amazing things over at Quizzes, like the accommodation features that they just released. The accommodation features allows you, as long as you set up a classroom in Quizzes, you can select which students get extra time, or if there are certain students that you want to only get 2 or 3 choices instead of 4 in the multiple choice section, you could do that. Or if you want the questions to be read to a student, you could select those options. So I think Quizzes is going to be around for a long time just because they keep adding new things to their tools. And it's not just a formative assessment tool. It's not just a tool that, is being stagnant. They keep adding all these things, and I'm really enjoying the gamification and also the merge between lessons, like having your presentation built into Quizzes and then being able to assess students in chunks. I think those are both, awesome features within Quizzes. And then you go up top, and the nominated tool was CurryPod, and they make quality presentations very quick for teachers, saving us time and allowing us to, you know, all the added stuff that we've had over the last 10, 12 years that teachers have to do, the added responsibilities take away our time to be creative. And I think CurryPod, by saving us a lot of time making those presentations, not making us have to make sure everything, looks great, it does it for you. I think CurryPod is pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, there's a ton of great tools. And I guess we should say, this episode 160 is going to be officially posted. Let's see the exact date on March 25th. So if you're listening on March 25th or sometime between March 25th and March 31st, you still have time to vote. You've got about a week to vote because that is the range for the final round. So you can head to the X platform to do that, where you'll find this posted by none other than Geist Got Teched. You can also just search the hashtag EdTech Madness 24. And if you're listening to this episode and those dates have already passed, it still doesn't matter because, like we said in the last episode, this is just a ton of like the best EdTech tools that are out there, withstanding the test of time. And like you pointed out with quizzes, we think the AI is just a huge part of that, right? Like a lot of the tools that are rising to the top of the list as it stands today are the tools that are embracing AI to be a part of what they already do. Like quizzes is for a long time been one of the top formative assessment, or just let's just say assessment platforms. But now with such an emphasis on AI, that is sort of what is allowing them to remain one of the top competitors, maybe the top one. So that's kind of where we're at.
So let me ask you this, Nick. I have my opinions on this, but out of these last four, who do you think's going to make it to the final two? I won't ask you for your champion because I think it's going to be impossible to tell right now. But who's your final two?
It's definitely going to be Magic School versus, I don't know, I guess Canva, just because Canva is a little more all encompassing than Diffit. I think we're going to see Magic School versus Canva. And I can even tell you, just from the conference we were at a couple weeks ago, I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say Magic School is going to take the whole thing because teachers who like EdTech are crazy about Magic School right now. I think they're going to run away with it.
I'm gonna agree but disagree because that's what I like to do with you is disagree with you all the time. I will shout out Diffit here because the following for Diffit and actually Book Creator as well. I mean, they have so many people following them. It's absolutely amazing. But with Diffit, just to think they're around a year old, maybe a little more at this point, is phenomenal, and the improvements that they've made is it's just remarkable. So I'm going to also say that Canva will beat Diffit, and I just think because Canva's following is just tough to overcome. But I think Diffit's going to, I think the closest one out of the remaining ones is going to be Canva and Diffit. I think the final will also be Canva that will overtake Magic School. And I know I'm going to get a lot of, you know, sass over that one. But my hot take is Canva's going to beat Magic School. It will be close, but I think Diffit and Canva's going to actually be the closest matchup from here on out. And I haven't even looked at it yet. So it could be, I don't know, 80-20 Canva right now. And I could be totally wrong as is. But I usually don't look at it until, I don't know, like a day or two before it's done. I'll send out one reminder to try to fire up some people and get those last minute votes in. But all right, so if Canva is able to repeat, that's cool. If we have a new champion out of Book Creator, Diffit, Magic School, that's also cool. All that stuff is good. But yeah, so that was the March EdTech Madness.
Yep, we'll have
24.
to see what happens there. For now, everybody, just hold on to your socks because we are about to knock them off with the AI tool selection that we've got coming up right now. But before we do that, we got to take a break to hear from teachbetter.com, our beloved podcast network. Don't go anywhere because when we come back, we're going to be breaking down these 7 tools, taking a deep dive-ish look at them. So stay tuned.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. You can find out more at teachbetter.com/podcasts. Now let's get back to the episode.
All right, so let's get right into our next segment, which is our bulk of this episode, and we're going to share with you 7 different AI tools, and some of these are very new in beta or not even available to the public. We might give you a sneak peek of the dashboard of one tool if we have time. If not, we will bring those up on the next show. I'm going to go into my first one here, and it's called Factors. If you go to app.factors.world, this is your dashboard. And the first thing it's going to say is you get to choose an assistant. And there are 3 that I could choose from: Martin Luther King. I can't remember the other gentleman that I can choose from, but you get to choose your own assistant. All right. I am going to go with the more science brain right here. And when you choose your assistant, you could generate a topic. You can upload a PDF to generate that topic or to get that topic going. And you could do a pulse check to see how your students are doing. There are some new tools coming, and I am super excited for all 3 of these tools. But let's go in and find a template that we can work with here real quick. All right, so I'm going to go from generate a topic. All right, so let's do my favorite to do because I really don't like talking or teaching photosynthesis and bio. It's probably my least favorite topic. I say that all the time, but for me, it's very important for my least favorite topic to make interesting in other ways because I don't want anyone to have a diversion to photosynthesis. All right, 9 through 12. Let's go here and see some of the topic points that we could do. Basically, Marie Curie here, she's very scientifically brained, is going to guide a discussion with the students through these conversation points. And notice that the AI brought those up. You could take a look at these. If these are what you want, you can just go with that. If you don't want these, you can edit and make your own, or you could remove. I'm going to enter the title of photosynthesis here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. When we do that, it's going to create the activity, and basically you can share either this code with your students or this link. I'm going to go ahead and preview this worksheet here. I'm going to just put E and G in here.
As you're typing that in, I'll just kind of add that this is what I was talking about before with School AI and Magic School. These chatbot spaces are definitely becoming a big thing because that's essentially what we're looking at here with Factors. Am I right about that?
Yeah, this is very similar. Very, very similar. If you take a look here, the bot is going to basically lead this student down a discussion. What I really like about this is a good station rotation activity. So you could have 4 or 5 different activities going on, but if you want the students to make sure that they know, maybe activity 1 in their journey is they read an article or something like that about photosynthesis or watch a YouTube video. Well, now we could use Marie Curie to make sure that the students got what we need them to get out of that video. So we set up those topics on the previous screen, and now Marie Curie knows it. And now she's going to direct, the discussion. I was wondering what your thoughts on photosynthesis have been so far. No right or wrong answers here. I'm just going to type in photosynthesis is important for gas exchange. Something very simple, and I'm going to put that in there. And, I'm going to get some feedback here. Thanks for sharing. The gas exchange is important for photosynthesis. Can you explain more about this? So it's going to constantly make the students dig deeper. And if they get caught up, maybe they could ask a friend. Maybe you could say they could go onto their Chromebooks and do research and get back. Maybe we could do a class discussion, a mini class discussion when someone gets stuck on something. All right. And they would have to work through the 3 topics, which they could see up here. When you scroll over the topics, they would have to go through that. So that right there is Factors. I think it's a pretty awesome tool. It looks cool. I think the students would definitely be very happy to work through this. I want to point out down at the bottom, and I think this is something that we always have to talk about, is that the AI model may contain inaccuracies. So I would challenge my students to try to find inaccuracies and shed light on those. And if they could find inaccuracies, they probably know what they're talking about. So that is factor.
The only thing I'll add to the factors team, if anybody there is listening to our show, which I doubt, but you never know, I think they got to figure out how to make this little image of Marie Curie. I don't know. I feel like she
No.
should be interactive in some way. Like she should be speaking out what she's saying. I know that's just like a little bit of unnecessary flair, but I mean, if we've got AI running here anyway, why not make her actually her like face move? Because if you're just listening to the audio, what you can't see is next to the conversation is an image of Marie Curie that it auto generates, and I think it'd be cool if she actually talked. But
Yeah, that would be cool. And if she can read the prompts, that will help with leveling the playing field with some of our special needs kids.
right, all right.
So I definitely agree with that. So, Nick, why don't you go ahead and kick off your first one?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about Learnt.ai is their website. It seems like they just go by Learnt as like the name of the company itself, but this is so cool as sort of like another one-stop shop, what we sometimes call the Swiss Army knife tool when it comes to AI generated content. When you're on your dashboard and you sign in, you'll see a bunch of different options here, like referring a friend, upgrading your plan. Of course, there is a paid version that you can go to if you want. But the main thing that I want to point out here is the button called Start Generating. So I'm going to go there and just kind of walk you through some of the stuff they have. If you're checking this out visually, you can see there's just a insane amount of things that you can make. For all of our audio listeners, I'll just try to read some of these things. But there's got to be close to, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 of these things as I'm scrolling through. But here's what you can do or auto generate with AI. They have an analogy maker. And beneath it, it describes make your point with an analogy. That's huge for me because in science, especially chemistry, where you cannot see the things we learn about, atoms and molecules, analogies are huge. I'm constantly comparing, chemical reactions or, just properties of an atom to things in real life that the students know. And this is true in lots of different studies. Those analogies are often challenging to think of. So the AI here can help me out with that difficult process. They've got an animation script writer, generate a script for an educational animation. They've got a case study generator, generate a random case study on a topic of your choice. That's a huge one. I love case studies. I do not love writing them because it's so complex and you need so much information and data. Now I can get that started on its own. There's a content rewriter. Rewrite your text in a different tone. That's a favorite of mine that we've seen in other AI tools. I think Goblin Tools is one that came up in our last episode. You can do that here. Course title, generate a title for your new course. We need that, guys, for the renaming of some of these horribly named classes we're teaching now. Email generator, essay question generator, gamified challenge creator. So much cool stuff. There's stuff on here that I would not have even thought of to get AI involved in the creation of. If you're thinking, could I not just go to ChatGPT and ask it to do these things? And the answer is yes, of course you can. But if you are the one doing it yourself, then you have to be the one that's building out the perfect prompt to get the response that you want. And that's where Learnt AI comes in and saves you that time because it has already put those prompts together on the back end. All you have to come in and explain is what type of analogy you want it to create, what type of rubric you want to create, and then all the annoying prompt generation stuff you no longer have to worry about. So this is cool. And I think something like Learnt.ai can give our Magic School users something to think about, something to compare at least which of these tools you might want to use more. So this is an excellent website that I'm glad we got to share today.
How do you think this compares with like EduAid and Magic School and things like that.
There's something about Magic School that I do not care for. I know I'm in the minority right now. It looks a little elementary to me. Learnt.ai, the one we're looking at here and featuring today, I like this more because it seems, I don't know if professional is the word. I don't want to like put down these other tools, but I like the look of this thing. I like how many different options there are. It would be interesting to put it side by side with Magic School to see like which of them has more options for generators. I don't want to do that now in this episode just for the sake of time, but I don't know, man. I think if I was to pick one, I would take this one, Learnt AI, as the generator I would use.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at both of them, actually all three of them, they have a lot of similarities with the tools and everything, but I think the way that they're organized is very different. And I think they will fit in with or resonate with different people based on the styles, because you and I are very different when it comes to, I guess, our organization skills and those types of skill sets. So
Right.
me personally, I would probably use all three based on which tools are open and unlocked, but I really do like the organization of this. That the one that you described with the metaphors and analogies and stuff like that, amazing. I use that all the time. So
Look at sorry to interrupt you. Look at this one too. This has some great stuff. Ethical dilemma activity. Generate learning activities that challenge learners to think critically about ethical issues. What a great way to build in engagement. And again, this means you don't have to think of what those ethical dilemmas are. Another one that caught my eye, explain it to a child. Describe a topic of your choice in a way that would be easy to understand. That's often how I approach teaching complex things, is to envision my audience as like, what if I was to explain this to my, she's 3, but let's say a little bit older, maybe my 5-year-old daughter. That is an awesome way to introduce something complex, and you can have this support you in that. Just really creative stuff here. I love it.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love all these tools just because every time I see these different tools on these websites, I'm just thinking time saver, time saver, time saver, time saver.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into my next one here. And my next one is called Lumen 5. Lumen 5 is pretty awesome. I learned about this one on the quizzes tech smash that happened last week. And the quizzes tech smash, basically a whole bunch of ed tech teachers and admin and people that just enjoy ed tech get together, and we have this like throwdown where different people go up. They have 2 minutes to share a tool. This is one of the ones that was shared there. I'm going to go back into my notes later and add to our show notes who actually presented this. I think I know who it is, but I do not want to say it in case I'm wrong. I'll probably come back on later and give credit to the person that did this. But this is called Lumen 5. And what it does is it makes presentations, and it also will take that presentation and make it into a video. So what I'm going to do first is just show you the process that you have to go through, and then I'm going to show you one that I just did. I literally did this as you were talking about your last EdTech tool. So the first thing that you do is you pick a preview, or you preview all the presentations that you want, and they are there. All right. So if I choose this one here, we go here, we could say use this template. Notice down at the bottom, you can make videos that just fits on social media, which is pretty cool. All right. From here, you could choose how to get started. You could do a voiceover, AI voiceover, talking head, whatever you want. I just did text to media. You fill out all this stuff. What is your video about? What is it used for? I put education here. And then 3 things that you want it to talk about. And then you would hit compose script. All right. So that is pretty much what's going on here. So let me go back, and this is my video that I just made. So I just typed in photosynthesis again, and I said photosynthetic equation. I said plants that harvest light energy and chloroplasts are the 3 things that I want. So as you can see, this is the presentation. that it goes through. It's talking about all the different parts of the equation. I would have to edit this a little bit, but I kind of like the way that it looks. If you want to preview one, you can. Mhm. If you don't want that design, you could easily swap the design for one that you want and how you want it to look. So if I want to swap it in for that one, I can do that pretty easily. We could swap the pictures, we could swap different colors, we can make it last longer if there's more words onto that slide. And then you can make an outro. All right. So when you're done, you can publish it. All right. It's gonna take probably a little bit for me to get this moving. I also turned off my hardware acceleration in order to get this program to run a little bit more smoothly. What I mean is our live streaming found out that it likes the hardware acceleration off a little bit, but basically it's just going to make a video of your topic for you. So that would be a super easy way to push out like a 3 minute video to your students as an introduction to your lesson for the next class period. And you hardly have to do anything, and everything that you do can be changed to personalize it for you and your classroom. So this is Lumen 5.
Yeah, these look great. We've seen a lot. We're actually going to do another one right at the end of our list today that does a similar thing. I really like the look of what it creates in these templates. They're clean, they're simple, they're the type of slide that you want to produce, which is, you know, lots of big poppy images and very small snippets of text. And I really love how there's different aspect ratios that you can choose from the beginning depending on where this is eventually going to go. Like, is it going to be an Instagram post? Is it going to be a reel? Is it going to TikTok? All these different formats. Super awesome for Lumen 5. So that's a cool one that I actually did not know about. Our next one that I'm going to talk about is called Class Companion. Class Companion is it's kind of I don't know if it's hard to describe when you certainly when you're on their dashboard after you sign in, it's not as obvious what you're looking at as with some of the other tools. So let me just give an overview first. This is essentially an instant feedback tool as you push assignments out to your students. So I almost envision this the way I use our learning management system where kids get assignments posted, they complete them and submit the work there. That same thing is happening in Class Companion, except now the AI of Class Companion automatically gives feedback to that student work without you doing anything. You can, of course, review that and add in your own stuff as you should do, but it takes a lot of that initial heavy lift off. So, what we're looking at here is the dashboard, and it's going to show you just a list of all your students and some general data about them, like median score, just on like all of their work so far. It tells you how many times they tried again. So this is a sample class, and we can see that Ron Weasley tried again 29% of the time, but Hermione Granger only tried again 11% of the time. And then there's some other data columns as well. So that's just like a quick look at your students. What I really wanted to talk about is the assignments. So here in that same sample class, there's some sample assignments. I'm going to choose one of these from a history class. This is a short answer assignment. So students had to come in and respond to this short answer question. When I click on the assignment, it shows the students that responded. It says that they're complete. It gives them a score. So I'm going to go to Ron Weasley. He got 2 out of 3. And when you click on him, it shows the response, and it shows the response that Ron gave, and then you can see all of the feedback that Class Companion provided. And I'll give you an example. Ron said in his response, one problem is that families have lost their life savings. This was a response to one of the prompts of this short answer. Class Companion says, your answer is correct. The loss of life savings was indeed a significant issue during the Great Depression as many banks failed and people's deposits were not insured. Goes on. Let's see. Great job identifying this problem. Let's move on to the next question. Ron responds again a bunch more times as Class Companion continues. One time where Ron gets it wrong, it also tells you how long it took him to respond. So it took him 15 seconds. He wasn't totally correct. Class companion let him know that. Ron says, "Can you give me a hint?" Class companion says, "Certainly." So now we're almost in like this chatbot realm where Ron can work back and forth with class companion as he develops whatever the answer is. And it's just super cool. And I love it. And if I'm a big fan of things like school AI where students are chatting and getting feedback, then this is to me leveling up that because they're getting to do this chat thing, but about specific questions that I have given them. Class Companion is super cool and worth checking out for anybody that doesn't mind sort of devoting time to putting assignments into a separate space. That would be the only thing I'm not going to like. I know I want everything to eventually be in my learning management system for easy grading at my school. And if they're all in Class Companion, that's a little bit of an extra lift for me. Maybe they integrate with some of the more popular tools. I'm just not sure if that's the case, but that is Class Companion.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you really need to use that as a something that you grade and you worry about putting into your grade book. I would just
Sure.
say that this is available for students for at home,
Right.
and the feedback that you get is feedback that you get. That's for you to help identify spots where you need a little bit more work
Yep.
and work with this class companion to maybe address some of these learning deficiencies or areas that you're having trouble with. So I do like Classroom Companion, and I do like my next one. And the next one is CK12. CK12.org is a place where you could get a lot of free, awesome resources, especially in the STEM area. So if you are someone that teaches STEM and, in your classroom, this is one that you want to check out. So when you first start at CK and you go to the dashboard here, it's pretty cool. There's a free assistant for every teacher. I I I don't know where to start because there's so many good things here. So once again, if we go here and we start scrolling down, we can start taking a look at these different assistants, and you could also switch to the student version if you would like right there. But let's just say I'm looking for my daily topic today, which is photosynthesis and respiration. I can go find that type of a resource, and we're going to go ahead and try this out. All right. You could start creating a class to start seeing foresight. So that's cool. Let's go into this demo class. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so everyone can see it. But there's like practice performance over here. You could see which ones they got right, which ones they got wrong. You can see the names over here. These students are just starting to explore. Some have had mastery already. Uh, Here's something that they get as a reading right here. From there, we could view practice problems and things like that. But the diagrams are cool, the summaries are cool, the YouTube videos that follow and the follow up questions, all this stuff, amazing stuff. Especially, I would use this as a kind of like an intro to a topic. Let them explore a little bit on their own, let them watch a video, answer a couple questions in small groups. What is this guy down here, you might ask? This is the AI tutor. It's called Flexi. All right. And Flexi will help you get started through this whole process. And Flexi will help you answer certain things. So let's say we just go to the website here and we need to know about photosynthesis. So I just type in as a student, what do I need to know about photosynthesis? I click on that. It's going to take me to Flexi. And Flexi is going to guide me on my journey here. Which one would we like to learn about? I'm going to say leaves and photosynthesis. All right. Great. Have you learned about leaves and photosynthesis? Yes, but I need help. All right. And what that's going to do is give the student a bunch of resources over here. There's a summary, the parts of a leaf, if some vocabulary words that they could click on. From there, they could go down to the study guide. This is going to be more of like the definitions filled out and everything like that. Here are some common questions that students may ask. and they can click on those and get answers to that, and they can kind of do their self exploration. So here's challenge me with a question. All right. So that's pretty cool. And then they can check their answer. I'm just going to choose glucose, check it, and see that I'm wrong. Then you could try again. What else do we throw off of there? Let's check that. Yep, that's off. Obviously, the correct answer. So you get some feedback and you can keep going with this. So, pretty cool there. Finally, you could go to a lesson, and Flexi is going to be right there with you as you go through the lesson here. All right. So it's like having a personal assistant, but what I really like are these free resources. Just the way everything's color coded, the pictures and stuff like that go along with the reading. This is how I learn. I would be able to read this, go look at the picture, and then go back and kind of reread anything that I wasn't quite sure about. But that's usually how I read and how I study is I read, look at the picture, try to tell the story of the picture, and then I go back and you know pull out some of the things that are highlighted and see how I could tie those into the picture. But I really like ck12.org. This is one that you want to check out. I can't quite remember who I got this from, but I will definitely put credit out in the show notes. And I think it was Houseman. I'm pretty sure it was Houseman. I'm going to come back and give credit to both of those, to both of the people, because this was another one that was on that quizzes throwdown.
Yeah. At first, I was like, yeah, whatever. This is nothing special. But Flexi sold me. That's very cool how, as you're looking at these resources, you can interact with him, her. I'm not sure. What is Flexi supposed to be? That little, like a little monster thing? I can't, it's small on my screen there.
It's a Flexi.
It's a Flexi. Let's not classify Flexi, but it's so cool. Yeah, I'm going to check out that a little bit more myself, which brings me to my last one. And let's also call this, I'm just realizing we didn't fully plan. We had not a bunch, but we had some technical issues prior to today's recording. So we did not plan in advance what our throwdown was going to be. So I propose to you, throwdown can be this one that I'm about to share, Gamma, found at gamma.app, versus the first one you shared, which is factors.world. How does that sound to you?
I think we should do Lumen 5 versus this one because they're kind of similar.
Oh, you're right. That's actually what I meant to say. Yeah. Lumen 5 versus Gamma.
Welcome to the EdTech Throwdown. This is an in-episode competition featuring an EdTech tool, tip, or practice that can be used to enhance learning and increase engagement. In one corner, we have Geist, the genetically confused mixture of silverback, human, and sloth, a walking identity crisis. And in the other corner, we have Nick, the pint-sized powerhouse ready to punch above his weight and give Geist a run for his bananas. It's a showdown between a confused giant and a determined David. Get ready for the ultimate clash of the EdTech Titans.
They do essentially the same thing. If you go to Gamma, you can sign up for free. You'll go to your dashboard, and in the top left is a button that says Create New. I'm going to walk through this process just briefly now. There's a couple different things you can do, like importing a file, pasting in text from somewhere else, or just generating from a prompt. And that's the one I'm going to do. And just since we've been using photosynthesis, let's keep running with that. And I'll type in my topic, photosynthesis. It'll make a bunch of different things. It'll make a web page for you. It'll make a document for you. I'm going to show presentation just so we can match it up against Lumen. You can tell it how many cards you want in advance. I'm going to set it at a small number. Let's go with 4 cards. You can set the language, very helpful. English for me, and generate. And it's going to go ahead and start doing its thing. What I like about Gamma is that it's going to show me all of the different cards, as it calls them, but slides first in an outline form that I can then click and drag to like adjust the positioning of these things. So if I think they should be arranged differently, I can also choose to add a card at this point. There's some other settings, like you can set the amount of text per card. So the default is medium. I can set it to detailed or brief. I'm going to go brief this time just to see what that looks like. Image source, you can have it do AI images or web search. I'm going to stick with the AIs and also describe the style of those images. Like if you want everything to be a certain color, I'll just type the word blue and then click generate, and it's going to get to work making those slides. Another cool thing about it is still another step before it makes them is it shows you templates. So you can actually choose one that you like. The first shot here that it's giving me is this sort of like watercolory pinkish thing that I don't fit super well, or I just don't like. So I'm going to choose this sort of blue wavy looking one. But you can scroll through, there's tons of options. Finally, click the generate button one last time, and it's actually going to put these together for you. It's a nice visual. You can see it kind of actively typing out this text. It is doing everything I asked, like choosing nice blue themed images. You can tell they're AI generated. Like this first one is a zoomed up or zoomed version of a leaf, but it's not like very obviously done. It fits. It looks nice. They're very attractive looking, and it covers some of the basics. Like here, they're defining chloroplasts and chlorophyll and thylakoid membranes and stroma and all these things. And you can do a lot of stuff with it. You can share these out as a resource. You can present it straight from Gamma app, the website, or I'm pretty sure I thought you could export these things, but maybe that's not an option here. We've got a follow link and just a bunch of other stuff up in this top left. Here's the export I was looking for. So you can convert the format of this to something you might be more familiar with. Here, it looks like the options are PDF or PowerPoint, and it's great. It's just another really, really nice, fast, easy way to generate resource that you either use as your presentation background or you just provide as like a different way for students to access information. Best part being looks awesome and takes very little effort on your part. So that is Gamma, found at gamma.app, which you can compare to Geiss's feature Lumen from before, and hopefully go to X to vote on which of us chose the better resource for today.
Yeah, I mean, technically, we probably have two different throwdowns today because we disagreed in the bracket,
Right.
on who is going to win. I said Canva, you said
It's true.
Magical.
That's true.
So that one will be there, and this one also will be there as well. I really do like this design and how it looks and how everything kind of is similar to one another from slide in to slide out. It just looks sharp. So nice job there. I'm going to wrap up with this podcast with kind of giving you a sneak preview. Now, I'm also getting a sneak preview of this. I love getting, I don't know, beta testing apps and things like that. I love doing it because, one, it gives me a little bit of a say, I feel. This could just be me just being naive or whatever, but I feel like when you're beta testing something and you're a teacher that's getting deep into a certain tool and you provide feedback, that feedback is more valued than something that's been out for 4 or 5 years. So you get a little bit of a say of paving the way. So let me go ahead and show you ethically. So here's ethically. I'm going to say it's in the beginning stages of the tool. That's me saying it. I don't know how long they've been working on it, but I will tell you that it is something that has intrigued me a little bit because we have been spending a lot of time working with English teachers lately and history teachers and some of the teachers that have more research projects and papers and things like that. And we're talking about how we can get students to use AI the right way. What I mean by that is not have all their work be generated by AI and things like that. So I am very intrigued by the name of ethically. I have not gotten to play around with it. I started making a class. I was on the wait list for a little bit. I got in. I started making a class with Nick. We have not gone through the process of turning things in, but I think this is going to be a tool that is going to be very useful in the classroom to help students kind of get help as they go through your lesson. So sometimes we have students do stuff at home, sometimes they do it in study hall. Teacher's not always there. Ethically seems like the AI is going to help them along the journey. Maybe ask things like, is my thesis statement strong? What else do I need to include into the thesis statement? Things like that. Teachers can set up a pathway for them, and then the students are going to, be able to go through that journey and ask help to the AI. So if we take a look at this website, their biggest things are that, it's going to serve the AI is going to serve as a teaching assistant that's going to provide feedback to students, but it's taking away, some of the tasks that a teacher would have to do, and it's going to save them time inevitably. And hopefully this is in a safe space, meaning that, you know, AI is not going to generate writing that they're going to be able to use and claim as their own, or try to anyway. All right. So it says that it's going to design and inspire deeper learning. Everything's going to be in one place or one hub. So I can't wait to check this out, because I'm really, really hoping that this is going to be a place where students can go, where interact with AI, and the teachers can see how they're interacting with AI. So everyone is a part of that learning journey, and we're not just copying and paste things in from ChatGPT or something like that. So it's a writing hub, acts as an assistant for students. It's going to be learning whenever you want to learn, basically. That helper's going to be there. One thing I do want to point out is they do run webinars. There was one last Tuesday, but you could register for webinars to see what it's all about. But I would strongly encourage you to join up for, a wait list. The access is limited, and once you get off the wait list, you go in, you play around, and you be active in providing feedback, because that's how these tools get better, and they build more towards the needs of a classroom teacher or an instructional coach, building administrator, whoever's going to use it in your district. But you have the ability to shape the future of these tools that are in beta. You have the ability to provide some say. And it's really, really fun to see one of these tools that you invest time in and you provide feedback, make it. I know Nick and we have been a part of a couple of different tools journeys along the way. And, I'm just happy when, you get to celebrate alongside of these tools, like the 1 year mark or the 2 year mark. And some of the ones that are now making it into the EdTech bracket are ones that we help provide feedback to in the past, which is kind of cool. And we didn't even select them for the bracket. I mean, they were nominated in. So that will give you a hint of some of the ones that maybe we were working with.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that also wraps up episode 160. Just remember, everybody, to head over to X at EdTech Throwdown to vote for this episode's throwdown, which again was Gamma.app versus Lumen 5. Hopefully, we brought you all a lot of really exciting AI tools. Of course, this is just a drop in the bucket, and you can expect lots more to come. But as always, thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening to the EdTech Throwdown. Do us a couple of favors. Subscribe to our podcast on any major podcast catcher such as Apple, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and Stitcher. Go over to YouTube, search the EdTech Throwdown, subscribe to the channel. You can connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. The show's handle is EdTech Throwdown. You can connect with Geis at GeisGotTech, Nick at NickGotTech. You can write us an Apple Podcast review. You can tell your friends about www.edtechthrowdown.com. And lastly, go over and check out our friends over at the Teach Better Podcast Network, a network that we are so proudly involved with. Until next time, remember, go try some EdTech, because we will do the research so you can teach your class.